Estos son los instantes previos de lo que será este 28º Congreso de Educación Inicial organizado por el Gobierno Regional del Callao. Bienvenidos.
Now, let me tell you, this is one of the most important trips I've ever made in my entire life. And I enjoyed every bit of it. You see, when I got information that I would be going to Peru, I was excited. And to be honest, the road there was not easy. As a matter of fact, I was one of the last persons to board the flight from Orlando to Colombia, and again the last person to board the flight from Colombia to, of course, Peru. But what was most exciting was the space. When I went there, I saw so many things that I was taken back. Now, Peru must be a place that has the earlier civilization. And of course, it can be traced back to 3200 BCE. That's a long time ago. As a matter of fact, it has been described as the world's sixth cradle of civilization. Now, this is not far-fetched, because when I went in and I looked at certain things, I realized that this place has a history. Now, just imagine walking in this space and enjoying the atmosphere, talking to individuals, and of course, you're having a wonderful time. Yes, my wonderful individual there, she was assisting me all the way with the journey, and she interpreted every step of the way. Here, she's pointing me to an historical monument. And down that line, you also see the sea. It was a fascinating walk. Yes, it was a bit cold, but most of all, I enjoyed it. What is fascinating about this place is the people. The people show a sense of love and understanding that is not ordinary. I must say I have been impressed by the love and understanding of these individuals. And as we walked along the shore, I saw something different. I was expecting to see sandy beaches, but instead I saw stones. And as I walked along, I realized that as I walked away, I realized there were actually no sand in this region. But the most beautiful sound I heard was when the stones were being beaten by the waves. It had a crackling sound. It's something that I've never heard before. And as I journeyed along, I remembered how beautiful the sound was. Now, it's something that you have to experience, I can't tell you. But here they also have a tsunami warning. Apparently, tsunamis might be able to reach a space. But it was beautiful. Here, they are just stones, no sand. What you'd expect in Jamaica, right? But this is actually a relaxing area. People come, they enjoy, as outlined by these individuals, and they have a wonderful time. It's winter in Peru at this point in time, and the summer in the United States. But most of all, I realized it's a place that you could relax. Yes, indeed, you could relax and just take it easy. Because after all, what's life? We journey along and talk about certain things, but yet we spend so little time to relax. And I wanted to relax, but remember, I still had just 46 hours in this country. Now, it was wonderful. I enjoyed just being out in the open air and wondering, would I be able to live in Peru if I wanted to? And the possibility exists. But, I can see that this place is wonderful. And I heard in the summer, there are so many people out that it is not funny. Yes, a lot of people come out at that point in time. But the important thing is understanding that Peru has a rich history. It has a culture that people will need to go further. This is my first trip to Peru, but I'm sure it won't be my last, because I want to know about the Inca Empire. I want to know more about it. I want to know more about the period where they struggled, the conquest, and the colonial rule that was a part of this country. Yes, when I spoke to individuals, they told me about the colonizers, how they came and how they wanted to destroy the culture, but they fought back. Like the Caribbean people, they fought back. And of course, you can see it in their culture. When they talk about it, they are so proud that they defeated, of course, those colonialists. Yes, they defeated them in such a way. The conquest took place. And of course, when you look at the struggle for independence, you know it was real. And you had people like Simon Bolivar, who later played a critical role in completing the independence after decisive battle in 1824. Yes, they fought for them. Yes, they fought for their independence. And as I'm walking in the space, I came across something that was fascinating. The amount of birds that I saw just perching in this vicinity is something I've never seen before. As a matter of fact, these birds are important. I think they are moving from one territory to the next. Yes, so we walked along and enjoyed the journey because you know what? This was my last day. I was flying out at 12:15 a.m. in the morning. Just look at me. I'm going to have another 24 hours without sleep, but I just don't care. I wanted to see the place. I wanted to see what it was made up of. And these wonderful ladies, they're telling me about everything that's going on. But as we look around the place, I realize that, you know what? Everything seemed to be calm, at least here, but not on the streets, right? Meaning the driving. The driving took you to another level because when you saw the cars on the road, you wondered how these individuals are navigating the space. But I tell you this, there's a lot of open space for individuals to have fun, to play around. Not like in Florida that you have limited space for recreation, and if you have to enjoy yourself, you have to maybe go to somewhere that you'll pay. So I think we have state parks, yes, but you'll have to travel to them in many cases. And here it's a nice outdoor, and I'm being told what is happening there. They can cross and go on an island, and it's a beautiful space there. You know, sometimes adults have to make sure that adults are there, and we're pointing to the vessels that will go over, giving me information and telling me what happens in this region. But it's just a nice space. It's a nice space to navigate. And as I'm walking around, I'm just saying to myself, wow, I wish I had another 24 hours to be exact, not 8 or 9 hours. But that's the reality of it, you know. And then I went to this place. This is, of course, a fortress. Yes, a fortress that was built in order to protect this area of Peru. And it was brought to my attention that we could go in, but based on time again, it would not permit me. So I just went around, we took some pictures here and there, and of course, we were ready again to move on. Because remember, I am leaving at 12. Remember, I'm leaving at 12:15 in the morning. Yes, in the morning. So it's just looking around, seeing some landmarks, and just understanding what was happening here. And she told me about the resistance and what happened in the space. And of course, I like Peruvians because they are proud of their culture, their history, how they fought back. And you know what the thing about it is? This history is not hidden. Because I remember going in the sessions and I heard them chanting 3 issues consistently, and I asked them what it was, and it explained to me that's a symbol of their movement or their battle from the oppressors or the colonizers. It was beautiful, to be honest. I learned so much, and it was consistently done. Not many times in the Caribbean. Yes, I also went around to this alley space to just see what it was about, and I heard it's a space that you could get some food, but we weren't hungry at this point in time. I was just going down there and seeing what it is all about, and this is just an area that you could walk around. You know, of course, I was being guided, and you know, wonderful person explaining everything in Spanish to me, and I was just picking up a few words here and there. By the way, I do not speak Spanish, but I was trying my best. I was trying my best to ensure that I was able to follow the conversation, but this looks like a nice town area. Should be live in the evenings, but I will be around. And I thought it was wonderful just to take a view in and see what was on. You know, the Peruvian food is rated as one of the best around the world. And I think after sampling a few dishes, I think it is so. But that is it, and there are umbrellas hanging over and just enjoying it. And of course, we just enjoyed. We enjoyed walking around, looking, and making sure that everything was all right. And of course, I was walking very light. I didn't have my knapsack, just had my pocket 3 camera and my phone, and that's all I was traveling with. Sometimes when you go out to these places, you just have to make sure that you limit your equipment because you don't want to draw too much crowd. And of course, these individuals were protecting me. As a matter of fact, at one point I put my bag somewhere and they said, no, you need to put it in front of you. I was holding it and they indicated, you just need to be careful. No, to be honest, that can happen anywhere, in Jamaica, in America, anywhere it's possible. And when we reached a point, it was time to turn back because, I was given the warning that further down you might have an issue there and you just want to be safe. And that's all about safety. Always listen to individuals giving you information, and of course, when you get that information, use it well. So here it was. We went to a little church and we're back on our way now. And of course, driving in Peru is something, right? It is wonderful. You see drivers coming in and out, and they have what they call the cabbie. These are minibus drivers in the context of Jamaica, and these drivers, they drive as if they're above the law. They come in, they brake in front of you and so forth just to pick up a passenger, and they have the conductor. Now, a conductor in this scenario is the driver. In our Jamaican context, it's actually the person loading the bus. So these were things, I was learning as I go. The culture is wonderful. There you have one just passing us just like that. You can see that he brakes in front of us too. There's a sleeping policeman. We slow down, or could be a woman. For those who are going to say I'm not doing the gender thing, of course you have to be careful. And of course, the driving, you have to have everything intact. There you have it. We are making a turn here to go around and just have some wonderful sightseeing view. Have some view of the place, and I think that was gorgeous. Looking at it, Peru is just like any other country. You think that something is off here because we see the arrow coming towards us, means that we should not be driving here, but we drove here. So what I'm saying is keeping it safe, keeping it real, but we're getting along. And I think the place was under construction, hence we had to do that one. And of course, traveling in Peru is one of the things that you want to be able to have someone with you to take you around. And I'm happy that I met wonderful friends that will be able to assist me on my next journey, because I want to go back to Peru. I want to visit the ruins. I want to hang out. I want to go to jungle, because I was saying I really wanted to go to jungle. I could go to jungle in 46 hours, but I'll designate another time. And as they said to me, Lima is a okay place, but if you really want to see Peru, you have to go further to the outskirts, which I intend to do on a trip. I really want to come back to this place because I always wanted to visit it. And sometimes when you have a dream in your life, just think about it. It will come true. Who knows that I'll be going to Peru to speak to at least 3,000 people in an auditorium. I've spoken many places. I've spoken in Paris, I've spoken in Belize, I've spoken in Jamaica, I've spoken in the Grand Cayman Islands, I've spoken across the Caribbean. But I've never had an audience of 3,000 people who were motivated to the point that I am even more motivated to do what I'm doing. Yes, that is the element of the power of Peru and the motivation of these people. You could see them moving. The last time I saw that in Jamaica was when I taught at a school. There was this wonderful person by the name of Miss Atkinson. She had a passion for education and special needs, and to be honest, I saw many Miss Atkins at this conference. Yes, many motivated teachers, lovers of early childhood education, committed towards learning, ensuring that the next generation is equipped. Yes. And in some areas you have individuals stopping cars using the old traditional way, but this is actually a resort area. If you were able to see, the seas on your left and on your right. So this makes it a very expensive part of Lima area. And of course, we drove down, had a few things to do again, and we're just enjoying the sight, seeing these houses are actually very expensive. I heard that individuals would come in the summer and live and go back and close these houses down. So this is a very expensive part of Peru, yes, and a lot of individuals from the United States would come here. I heard that there are some houses selling, so you might be interested. I think I saw one or two houses while I was doing this little video. For sale means that there's a possibility if you want a piece of Peru, you can. Ocean view, ocean front for maybe under 350,000 US dollars. Could get you something good. Yes, and some of these houses are modern. Yes, very modern indeed. So that is it, it's a quiet area. It's winter, hence you see the overcast skies, and it's a time where I can see that Peru is going towards a more modern design and everything. You have some of these structures that have been centuries old. We have structures that are centuries old, but notwithstanding, these are preserved to ensure that history is kept intact. I went into several churches, and I'm not going to show pictures of churches because I think there are certain things that you don't show. But one thing was sure, that the culture, the history, the religious aspect of Peru is well documented in every aspect of these churches. Then I went to the town of Lima, and I saw, of course, castles and the architectural structure from the Spaniards' time, and it was a wonderful space that you could see how history holds itself together in this space. It is a place that everyone seems to come from time to time. It's a holiday. A lot of people are moving along and enjoying that space because, after all, it's a beautiful space, as you can see. Yes, and all these things that you see are wooden structure sort of design that you're looking at, and you will see that. And it's really a time that people enjoy the space. I think people just enjoy walking around and having fun. People are just enjoying themselves, and there's the architectural structure I was talking about, all coming down from the traditional individuals, of course, from the Spaniards, the design, and it's just a beautiful space. Everyone comes out and enjoys themselves, and of course there is the church, and I didn't go in because that would require roughly a 2-hour tour, and I did not have the time again to do that tour, so of course that would have passed me. But most importantly, I was able to see Lima, Peru, and the town, and to experience the driving in the space. Now, I'm not going to show a lot of videos regarding driving because I think I want to keep that for another production when I do compare countries and their driving and how safe you are in these countries. That's for another one. But most importantly, I enjoyed the food, the people, the interaction with the interaction with people who had a passion for education, a passion for early childhood education, that is, had a passion for teaching and learning, had a passion for just what needs to happen to prepare the next generation for what is coming. And this is a presidential palace that I had a look at, and of course this is where the leader for Peru lives at this point. Leader of Peru lives at this point. And I looked around. I said to myself, it reminds me of some parts of England, how it was set up, but that's a comparison that might not be realistic here based on the two locations, Spanish and then you have the English. But notwithstanding, there's this huge sort of movement before you reach into the palace itself. Now, this is just, and it was heavily guarded, to be exact. Now, it was a wonderful space, and then soon it was time to get back to get my things ready. But before that, I had to take a dance. I saw people dancing, and of course I said to myself, I hope they don't call on me to do any dancing. But notwithstanding, as you would say, things would work out. I was called to the dance floor, and of course, I tried to resist. But notwithstanding, when the Jamaican beat is seen in you, you start moving. And this is when I started moving away from the camera. But I had to move because they wanted to move, and I started to dance. That's it. Bye bye.